Welcome to the Nerdjacker's Vault. Today we are reading Hermetic Corpus, translated by G.R.S. Mead and Syed Mahdi Hassan. Publisher's note: it is a religious text. The followers of the Hermetic tradition believe these are the words of Hermes Trismegistus, who represents a fusion or reincarnation of the Greek god Hermes and the Egyptian god Thoth. To respect the followers, we would not attribute any writer to this text. Chapter 1. Poemandres, the shepherd of men. It chanced once on a time my mind was meditating on the things that are. My thought was raised to a great height, the senses of my body being held back, just as men who are weighed down with sleep after a fill of food or from fatigue of body. I thought a being more than vast, in size beyond all bounds, called out my name and says, "What would you hear and see, and what have you in mind to learn and know?" And I do say, "Who are you?" He says, "I am man shepherd, the Poemandres, mind of all masterhood. I know what you desire, and I'm with you everywhere." And I reply, "I long to learn the things that are, and comprehend their nature and know God. This is," I said, "what I desire to hear." He answered back to me, "Hold in your mind all you would know, and I will teach you." Even with these words his aspect changed, and straightway, in the twinkling of an eye, all things were opened to me, and I see a vision limitless, all things turned into light, sweet, joyous light. And I became transported as I gazed. But in a little while darkness came settling down on part of it, awesome and gloomy, coiling in sinuous folds, so that I thought it like unto a snake. And then the darkness changed into some sort of a moist nature, tossed about beyond all power of words, belching out smoke as from a fire, and groaning forth a wailing sound that beggars all description. And after that an outcry inarticulate came forth from it, as though it were a voice of fire. Thereon, out of the light, a holy word or logos descended on that nature, and upwards to the height from the moist nature leaped forth pure fire. Light was it, swift and active too. The air, too, being light, followed after the fire, from out of the earth and water rising up to fire, so that it seemed to hang therefrom. But earth and water stayed so mingled with each other, that earth from water no one could discern. Yet were they moved to hear by reason of the divine spirit word or logos pervading them. Then says to me man shepherd, "Did you understand this vision, what it means?" "No, that shall I know," said I. "That light," he said, "am I, your God, mind, prior to moist nature which appeared from darkness. The divine word of light that appeared from mind is Son of God." "What then?" Say I. "Know that what sees in you and hears is the Lord's divine word or logos, but mind is Father God. Not separate are they the one from other, just in their union, rather, is it life consists." "Thanks be to you," I said. "So understand the light," he answered, "and make friends with it." And speaking thus, he gazed for long into my eyes, so that I trembled at the look of him. But when he raised his head, I see in mind the light, but now in powers no man could number, and cosmos grown beyond all bounds, and that the fire was compassed round about by a most mighty power, and now subdued had come unto a stand. And when I saw these things, I understood by reason of man shepherd's divine word or logos. But as I was in great astonishment, he says to me again, "You beheld in mind the archetypal form whose being is before beginning without end." Thus spoke to me man shepherd. And I say, "Whence then have nature's elements their being?" To this he answer gives, "From will of God." Nature received the divine word or logos, and gazing upon the cosmos beautiful did copy it, making herself into a cosmos by means of her own elements and by the births of souls. And God the mind, being male and female both, as light and life subsisting, brought forth another mind to give things form, who, God as he was of fire and spirit, formed 7 rulers who enclose the cosmos that the sense perceives. Men call their ruling fate. Straightway from out the downward elements God's divine reason or logos leaped up to nature's pure formation, and was at one with the formative mind, for it was coessential with it. And nature's downward elements were thus left reasonless, so as to be pure matter. Then the formative mind that wonned with reason, he who surrounds the spheres and spins them with his whorl, set turning his formations and let them turn from a beginning boundless unto an endless end. For that the circulation of these spheres begins where it does end, as mind does will. And from the downward elements nature brought forth lives reasonless, for he did not extend the divine reason or logos to them. The air brought forth things winged, the water things that swim, and earth and water one from another parted, as mind willed. And from her bosom earth produced what lives she had, four-footed things and reptiles, beasts wild and tame. But All-Father Mind, being life and light, did bring forth man co-equal to himself, with whom he fell in love, as being his own child, for he was beautiful beyond compare, the image of his sire. In very truth, God fell in love with his own form, and on him did bestow all of his own formations. And when he gazed upon what the Informer had created in the Father, man too wished to inform, and so assent was given him by the Father. Changing his state to the formative sphere, in that he was to have his whole authority, he gazed upon his brother's creatures. They fell in love with him, and gave him each a share of his own ordering. And after that he had well learned their essence, and had become a sharer in their nature. He had a mind to break right through the boundary of their spheres, and to subdue the might of that which pressed upon the fire. So he who has the whole authority over all the mortals in the cosmos and over its lives irrational, bent his face downwards through the harmony, breaking right through its strength, and showed to downward nature God's fair form. And when she saw that form of beauty which can never satiate, and him who now possessed within himself each single energy of all seven rulers as well as God's own form, she smiled with love. For it was as though she'd seen the image of man's fairest form upon her water, his shadow on her earth. He in turn, beholding the form like to himself, existing in her water, loved it and willed to live in it. And with the will came act, and so he vivified the form devoid of reason. And nature took the object of her love and wound herself completely around him, and they were intermingled, for they were lovers. And this is why beyond all creatures on the earth man is twofold, mortal because of body, but because of the essential man immortal. Though deathless and possessed of sway over all, yet does he suffer as a mortal does, subject to fate. Thus, though above the harmony, within the harmony he has become a slave. Though male-female, as from a father, male-female, and though he's sleepless from a sleepless sire, yet is he overcome by sleep. Thereon I say, teach on, O mind of me, for I myself as well am amorous of the divine word or logos. The shepherd said, this is the mystery kept hid until this day. Nature embraced by man brought forth a wonder, oh so wonderful. For as he had the nature of the concord of the seven, who, as I said to you, were made of fire and spirit, nature delayed not, but immediately brought forth 7 men, in correspondence with the natures of the 7, male, female, and moving in the air. Thereon I said, O shepherd, this part of the Hermetic Corpus is lost. The next available part starts with, for now I'm filled with great desire and long to hear. Do not run off. The shepherd said, keep silence, for not as yet have I unrolled for you the first divine discourse or logoi. Lo, I am still, I said. In such wise then, as I have said, the generation of these 7 came to pass. Earth was as woman, her water filled with longing. Ripeness she took from fire, spirit from ether. Nature thus brought forth frames to suit the form of man. And man from light and life changed into soul and mind, from life to soul, from light to mind. And thus continued all the sense world's parts until the period of their end and new beginnings. Now listen to the rest of the divine discourse or logoi which you long to hear. The period being ended, the bond that bound them all was loosened by God's will. For all the animals being male-female, at the same time with man were loosed apart. Some became partly male, some in like fashion partly female. And straightway God spoke by his holy divine word or logos. Grow in increasing, and multiply in multitude, you creatures and creations all. And man that has mind in him, let him learn to know that he himself is deathless, and that the cause of death is love, though love is all. When he said this, his forethought did by means of fate and harmony affect their couplings and their generations founded. And so all things were multiplied according to their kind. And he who thus has learned to know himself has reached that good which does transcend abundance. But he who through a love that leads astray expends his love upon his body, he stays in darkness wandering and suffering through his senses things of death. What is the so great fault, said I, the ignorant commit, that they should be deprived of deathlessness? You seemst, he said, O you, not to have given heed to what you heard. Did I not bid you think? Yes, do I think, and I remember, and therefore give you thanks. If you thought thereon, said he, tell me, why do they merit death who are in death? It is because the gloomy darkness is the root and base of the material frame. From it came the moist nature. From this the body in the sense world was composed, and from this body death does the water drain. Right was your thought, O you. But how does he who knows himself go unto him, as God's divine word or logos has declared? And I reply, the Father of the universals does consist of light and life. From him man was born. You say, well, thus speaking, light and life is Father God, and from him man was born. If then you learn that you are yourself of life and light, and that you happens to be out of them, you shall return again to life. Thus did man-shepherd speak. But tell me further, mind of me, I cried, how shall I come to life again? This part of the Hermetic Corpus is lost. The next available part starts with, for God does say, the man who has mind in him, let him learn to know that he himself is deathless. Have not all men then mind? You say, well, O you, thus speaking, I, mind, myself am present with holy men and good, the pure and merciful men who live piously. To such my presence does become an aid, and straightway they gain gnosis of all things, and win the Father's love by their pure lives, and give him thanks, invoking on him blessings, and chanting hymns, intent on him with ardent love. And ere they give up the body unto its proper death, they turn them with disgust from its sensations, from knowledge of what things they operate. No, it is I, the mind, that will not let the operations which befall the body work to their natural end. For being doorkeeper, I'll close up all the entrances, and cut the mental actions off which base and evil energies induce. But to the mindless ones, the wicked and depraved, the envious and covetous, and those who mured do and love impiety, I am far off, yielding my place to the avenging daimon, who sharpening the fire, tormented him and added fire to fire upon him, and rushed upon him through his senses, thus rendering him readier for transgressions of the law, so that he meets with greater torment. Nor does he ever cease to have desire for appetites inordinate, insatiately striving in the dark. Well, have you taught me all, as I desired, O mind? And now, pray, tell me further of the nature of the way above, as now it is for me. To this man-shepherd said, when the material body is to be dissolved, first you surrender the body by itself unto the work of change, and thus the form you have does vanish, and you surrender your way of life, void of its energy, unto the daimon. The body's senses next pass back into their sources, becoming separate, and resurrect as energies, and passion and desire withdraw unto that nature which is void of reason. And thus it is that man does speed his way thereafter upwards through the harmony. To the first zone he gives the energy of growth and waning, unto the second zone, device of evils now de-energized, unto the third, the guile of the desires de-energized, unto the fourth, his domineering arrogance also de-energized, unto the fifth, unholy daring and the rashness of audacity de-energized, unto the sixth, striving for wealth by evil means, deprived of its aggrandizement, and to the seventh zone, ensnaring falsehood, de-energized. And then, With all the energizings of the harmony stripped from him, clothed in his proper power, he came to that nature which belongs unto the eighth, and there with those that are hymned the Father. They who are there welcome his coming there with joy, and he, made like to them that sojourn there, does further hear the powers who are above the nature that belongs unto the eighth, singing their songs of praise to God in language of their own. And then they, in a band, go to the Father home. Of their own selves they make surrender of themselves to powers, and thus becoming powers they are in God. This the good end for those who have gained gnosis, to be made one with God. Why should you then delay? Must it not be, since you have all received, that you should to the worthy point the way, in order that through you the race of mortal kind may by your God be saved? This when he'd said, man-shepherd mingled with the powers. But I, with thanks and blessings unto the Father of the universal powers, was freed, full of the power he had poured into me, and full of what he'd taught me of the nature of the all and of the loftiest vision. And I began to preach unto men the beauty of devotion and of gnosis. O you people, earth-born folk, you who have given yourselves to drunkenness and sleep and ignorance of God, be sober now, cease from your surfeit, cease to be glamored by irrational sleep. And when they heard, they came with one accord. Whereon I say, you earth-born folk, why have you given yourselves up to death, while yet you have the power of sharing deathlessness? Repent, O you, who walk with error arm in arm and make of ignorance the sharer of your board. Get you out from the light of darkness, and take your part in deathlessness. Forsake destruction. And some of them with jests upon their lips departed from me, abandoning themselves unto the way of death. Others entreated to be taught, casting themselves before my feet. But I made them arise, and I became a leader of the race towards home, teaching the divine words or logoi, how and in what way they shall be saved. I sowed in them the divine words or logoi of wisdom. Of deathless water were they given to drink. And when even was come and all sun's beams began to set, I bade them all give thanks to God. And when they had brought to an end the giving of their thanks, each man returned to his own resting place. But I recorded in my heart man-shepherd's benefaction, and with my every hope fulfilled more than rejoiced. For body's sleep became the soul's awakening, and closing of the eyes, true vision, pregnant with good my silence, and the utterance of my divine word or logos, begetting of good things. All this befell me from my mind, that is man-shepherd, divine word, or logos of all masterhood, by whom being God-inspired I came unto the plane of truth. Wherefore with all my soul and strength thanksgiving give I unto Father God. Holy are you, O God, the universal's Father. Holy are you, O God, whose will perfects itself by means of its own powers. Holy are you, O God, who would to be known and are known by your own. Holy are you, who did by divine word or logos make to consist the things that are. Holy are you, of whom all nature has been made an image. Holy are you, whose form nature has never made. Holy are you, more powerful than all power. Holy are you, transcending all preeminence. Holy you are, you better than all praise. Accept my reason's offerings pure, from soul and heart, for I stretched up to you, O you unutterable, unspeakable, whose name nothing but the silence can express. Give ear to me who pray that I may never of gnosis fail, gnosis which is our common being's nature, and fill me with your power, and with this grace of yours, that I may give the light to those in ignorance of the race, my brethren, and your sons. For this cause I believe, and I bear witness. I ghost are you, O Father. Your man would wholly be as you are holy, even as you gave him your full authority to be. Chapter 2. To Asclepius. Hermes, all that is moved, Asclepius, is it not moved in something and by something? Assuredly. And must not that in which it's moved be greater than the moved? It must. Mover again has greater power than moved? It has, of course. The nature, furthermore, of that in which it's moved must be quite other from the nature of the moved? It must completely. Is not, again, this cosmos vast, so vast that then there exists no body greater? Assuredly, and massive too, for it is crammed with multitudes of other mighty frames, no, rather all the other bodies that there are, it is. And yet the cosmos is a body, it is a body, and one that's moved? Assuredly. Of what size, then, must be the space in which it's moved, and of what kind must be the nature of that space? Must it not be far vaster than the cosmos, in order that it may be able to find room for its continued course, so that the moved may not be cramped for want of room and lose its motion? Something, thrice greatest one, it needs must be immensely vast. And of what nature? Must it not be, Asclepius, of just the contrary? And is not contrary to body bodiless? Agreed. Space, then, is bodiless. But bodiless must either be some godlike thing or God himself. And by some godlike thing I mean no more the generable, that is, that which is generated, but the ingenerable. If, then, space be some godlike thing, it is substantial. But if it is God himself, it transcends substance. But it is to be thought of otherwise than God, and in this way. God is first thinkable or intelligible for us, not for himself, for that the thing that's thought does fall beneath the thinker's sense. God then cannot be thinkable unto himself, in that he's thought of by himself as being nothing else but what he thinks. But he is something else for us, and so he's thought of by us. If space is therefore to be thought, it should not then be thought as God, but space. If God is also to be thought, he should not be conceived as space, but as energy that can contain all space. Further, all that is moved not in the moved, but in the stable. And that which moves another is of course stationary, for it is impossible that it should move with it. How is it then that things down here, thrice greatest one, are moved with those that are already moved? For you have said the errant spheres were moved by the inerrant one. This is not, O Asclepius, a moving with, but one against. They are not moved with one another, but one against the other. It is this contrariety which turned the resistance of their motion into rest. For that resistance is the rest of motion. Hence, too, the errant spheres, being moved contrarily to the inerrant one, are moved by one another by mutual contrariety, and also by the stable one through contrariety itself. And this can otherwise not be. The bears up there, that is, Ursa Major and Minor, which neither set nor rise, you think they rest or move? They move, thrice greatest one. And what their motion, my Asclepius? Motion that turns forever round the same. But revolution, motion around same, is fixed by rest. For round the same does stop beyond same. Beyond same, then, being stopped, if it be steadied in round same, the contrary stands firm, being rendered ever stable by its contrariety. Of this I'll give you here on earth an instance, which the eye can see. Regard the animals down here, a man, for instance, swimming. The water moves, yet the resistance of his hands and feet give him stability, so that he is not borne along with it, nor sunk thereby. You have, thrice greatest one, adduced a most clear instance. All motion, then, is caused in station and by station. The motion, therefore, of the cosmos, and of every other hylic that is, material animal will not be caused by things exterior to the cosmos, but by things interior outward to the exterior, such things as soul or spirit or some such other thing incorporeal. It is not the body that does move the living thing in it. No, not even the whole body of the universe, a lesser body, even though there be no life in it. What do you mean by this, thrice greatest one? Is it not bodies, then, that move the stock and stone and all the other things inanimate? By no means, O Asclepius. The something in the body, the that which moves the thing inanimate, this surely is not a body, for that it moves the two of them, both body of the lifter and the lifted. So that a thing that's lifeless will not move a lifeless thing. That which does move another thing is animate, in that it is the mover. You see, then, how heavy laden is the soul, for it alone does lift two bodies. That things moreover moved are moved in something as well as moved by something is clear. Yes, O thrice greatest one, things moved must needs be moved in something void. You say well, O my Asclepius, for nothing of things that are is void. Alone the is not is void, and stranger to subsistence. For that which is subsistent can never change to void. Are there then, O thrice greatest one, no such things as an empty cask, for instance, and an empty jar, a cup, and vat, and other things like unto them? Alack, Asclepius, for your far wandering from the truth, you think that things most full and most replete are void? What do you mean, thrice greatest one? Is not air body? It is. And does this body not pervade all things, and so, pervading, fill them? And body, does body not consist from blending of the four elements? Full, then, of air are all you call void, and if of air, then of the four. Further of this the converse follows, that all you call full are void of air, for that they have their space filled out with other bodies, and therefore are not able to receive the air therein. These then, which you say are void, they should be hollow named, not void, for they not only are, but they are full of air and spirit. A. Your argument or logos, thrice greatest one, is not to be gainsaid. Air is a body. Further, it is this body which does pervade all things, and so pervading fill them. What are we then to call that space in which the all does move? The bodiless, Asclepius. What then is bodiless? It is mind and divine reason or logos, whole out of whole, all self-embracing, free from all body, from all error-free, unsensible to body and untouchable, self-stayed in self, containing all, preserving those that are, whose rays, to use a likeness, are good, truth, light beyond light, the archetype of soul. What then is God? Not any one of these is he, for he it is that caused them to be, both all and each and every thing of all that are. Nor has he left a thing beside that is not, but they are all from things that are, and not from things that are not. For that the things that are not have naturally no power of being anything, but naturally have the power of the inability to be. And conversely, the things that are have not the nature of some time not being. What do you say then? What is God? God, therefore, is not mind, but cause that the mind is. God is not spirit, but cause that spirit is. God is not light, but cause that the light is. Hence one should honor God with these two names, the Good and Father, names which pertain to him alone and no one else. For no one of the other so-called gods, no one of men or daemons, can be in any measure good, but God alone, and he is good alone and nothing else. The rest of things are separable all from the good's nature, for all the rest are soul and body, which have no place that can contain the good. For that as mighty is the greatness of the good, as is the being of all things that are, both bodies and things bodiless, things sensible and intelligible things. Call you not, therefore, anything at all else good, for you would impious be, nor anything at all at any time call God but good alone, for so you would again be impious. Though, then, the good is spoken of by all, it is not understood by all what thing it is. Not only, then, is God not understood by all, but both unto the gods and some of the men they out of ignorance do give the name of good, though they can never either be or become good. For they are very different from God, while good can never be distinguished from him, for that God is the same as good. The rest of the immortal ones are none the less honored with the name of God and spoken of as gods. But God is good not out of courtesy, but out of nature. For that God's nature and the good is one. One is the kind of both, from which all other kinds proceed. The good is he who gives all things and nothing receives. God, then, does give all things and receive nothing. God, then, is good, and good is God. The other name of God is Father, again because he is the that which made all. The part of Father is to make. Wherefore child-making is a very great and a most pious thing in life for them who think aright, and to leave life on earth without a child a very great misfortune and impiety. and he who has no child is punished by the daemons after death. And this is the punishment, that that man's soul who has no child shall be condemned unto a body with neither man's nor woman's nature, a thing accursed beneath the sun. Wherefore, Asclepius, let not your sympathies be with the man who has no child, but rather pity his mishap, knowing what punishment abides for him. Let all that has been said then be to you, Asclepius, an introduction to the gnosis of the nature of all things. Chapter 3. The Sacred Sermon. The glory of all things is God, Godhead, and godly nature. Source of the things that are is God, who is both mind and nature, you matter, the wisdom that reveals all things. Source too is Godhead, yes, nature, energy, necessity, and end, and making new again. Darkness that knew no bounds was in abyss, and water too and subtle breath intelligent. These were by power of God in chaos. Then holy light arose, and there collected beneath dry space literally, sand from out moist essence elements, and all the gods do separate things out from fecund nature. All things being undefined and yet unwrought, the light things were assigned unto the height. The heavy ones had their foundations laid down underneath the moist part of dry space, the universal things being bounded off by fire and hanged in breath to keep them up. And heaven was seen in 7 circles. Its gods were visible in forms of stars with all their signs, while nature had her members made articulate together with the gods in her. And heaven's periphery revolved in cyclic course, borne on by breath of God, and every god by his own proper power brought forth what was appointed him. Thus there arose 4-footed beasts and creeping things, and those that in the water dwell, and things with wings, and everything that beareth seed and grass and shoot of every flower, all having in themselves seed of again becoming. And they selected out the births of men for gnosis of the works of God, and attestation of the energy of nature, the multitude of men for lordship over all beneath the heaven and gnosis of its blessings, that they might increase in increasing and multiply in multitude, and every soul enfleshed by revolution of the cyclic gods, for observation of the marvels of heaven and heaven's gods' revolution, and of the works of God and energy of nature, for tokens of its blessings, for gnosis of the power of God, that they might know the fates that follow good and evil deeds, and learn the cunning work of all good arts. Thus there begins their living and their growing wise, according to the fate appointed by the revolution of the cyclic gods, and their deceasing for this end. And there shall be memorials mighty of their handiworks upon the earth, leaving dim trace behind when cycles are renewed. For every birth of flesh ensouled, and of the fruit of seed, and every handiwork, though it decay, shall of necessity renew itself, both by the renovation of the gods and by the turning round of nature's rhythmic wheel. For that, whereas the Godhead is nature's ever making new again the cosmic mixture, nature herself is also co-established in that Godhead. Chapter 4. The Cup or Monad. Hermes, with divine reason or logos, not with hands, did the world-maker make the universal world, so that you should think of him as everywhere and ever being, the author of all things, and one and only, who by his will all beings has created. This body of him is a thing no man can touch or see or measure, a body inextensible, like to no other frame. It is neither fire nor water, air nor breath, yet all of them come from it. Now being good, he willed to consecrate this body to himself alone, and set its earth in order and adorn it. So down to earth he sent the cosmos of this frame divine, man, a life that cannot die, and yet a life that dies. And over all other lives and over cosmos too, did man excel by reason of the divine reason or logos and the mind. For contemplator of God's works did man become, he marveled and did strive to know their author. Divine reason or logos indeed, O Tat, among all men has he distributed, but mine not yet. Not that he grudged any, for grudging came not from him, but has its place below within the souls of men who have no mind. Tat, why then did God, O Father, not on all bestow a share of mind? He willed, my son, to have it set up in the midst for souls, just as it were a prize. And where has he set it up? He filled a mighty cup with it, and sent it down, joining a herald to it, to whom he gave command to make this proclamation to the hearts of men. Baptize yourself with this cup's baptism. What heart can do so? You that have faith, you can ascend to him that has sent down the cup. You know that for what you came into being. As many then as understood the herald's tidings and doused themselves in mind, became partakers in the gnosis, and when they had received the mind, they were made perfect men. But they who do not understand the tidings, these, since they possess the aid of reason only and not mind, are ignorant wherefore they have come into being and whereby. The senses of such men are like irrational creatures, and as their whole make-up is in their feelings and their impulses, they fail in all appreciation, which is, they do not wonder at those things which really are worth contemplation. These center all their thought upon the pleasures of the body and its appetites, in the belief that for its sake man has come into being. But they who have received some portion of God's gift, these if we judge by their deeds, have from death's bonds won their release, for they embrace in their own mind all things, things on the earth, things in the heaven, and things above the heaven, if there be anything at all. And having raised themselves so far, they sight the good, and having sighted it, they look upon their sojourn here as a mischance, and in disdain of all, both things in body and the bodiless, they speed their way unto that one and only one. This is, O Tat, the gnosis of the mind, vision of things divine. God knowledge is it, for the cup is God's. Father, I too would be baptized. Unless you first shall hate your body, son, you cannot love yourself. But if you love yourself, you shall have mind, and having mind, you shall share in the gnosis. Father, what do you mean? It is not possible, my son, to give yourself to both. I mean to things that perish and to things divine. For seeing that existing things are twain, body and bodiless, in which the perishing and the divine are understood, the man who has the will to choose is left the choice of one or the other, for it can never be the twain should meet. And in those souls to whom the choice is left, the waning of the one causes the other's growth to show itself. Now the choosing of the better not only proves a lot most fair for him who makes the choice, seeing it makes the man a god, but also shows his piety to God. Whereas the choosing of the worse, although it does destroy the man, it does only disturb God's harmony to this extent, that as processions pass by in the middle of the way, without being able to do anything but take the road from others, so do such men move in procession through the world, led by their bodies, pleasures. This being so, O Tat, what comes from God has been and will be ours, but that which is dependent on ourselves, let this press onward and have no delay, for it is not God, it is we who are the cause of evil things, preferring them to good. You see, son, how many are the bodies through which we have to pass? How many are the choirs of daimons? How vast the system of the star courses through which our path does lie, to hasten to the one and only God. For to the good there is no other shore. It has no bounds. It is without an end. And for itself it is without beginning too, though unto us it seemed to have one, the gnosis. Therefore to it gnosis is no beginning. Rather is it that gnosis does afford to us the first beginning of its being known. Let us lay hold, therefore, of the beginning, and quickly speed through all we have to pass. It is very hard to leave the things we have grown used to, which meet our gaze on every side, and turn ourselves back to the old path. Appearances delight us, whereas things which appear not make their believing hard. Now evils are the more apparent things, whereas the good can never show itself unto the eyes, for it has neither form nor figure. Therefore the good is like itself alone, and unlike all things else. Or it is impossible that that which has no body should make itself apparent to a body. The likes, Superiority to the unlike and the unlike's inferiority unto the like consists in this. The oneness being source and root of all is in all things as root and source. Without this source is nothing, whereas the source itself is from nothing but itself, since it is source of all the rest. It is itself its source, since it may have no other source. The oneness then being source, contained every number, but is contained by none, engendered every number, but is engendered by no other one. Now all that is engendered is imperfect, it is divisible, to increase subject and to decrease. But with the perfect one none of these things does hold. Now that which is increasable increases from the oneness, but succumbs through its own feebleness when it no longer can contain the one. And now, O Tat, God's image has been sketched for you as far as it can be, and if you will attentively dwell on it and observe it with your heart's eyes, believe me, son, you will find the path that leads above. Know that image shall become your guide itself, because the sight divine has this peculiar charm. It held fast and drew unto it those who succeed in opening their eyes, just as they say the magnet drew iron. Chapter 5. Though unmanifest, God is most manifest. I will recount to you this sermon or logos too, O Tat, that you may cease to be without the mysteries of the God beyond all name. And mark you well how that which to the many seems unmanifest will grow most manifest for you. Now were it manifest, it would not be, for all that is made manifest is subject to becoming, for it has been made manifest. But the unmanifest forever is, for it does not desire to be made manifest. It ever is, and made manifest all other things. Being himself unmanifest, as ever being and ever making manifest, himself is not made manifest. God is not made himself. By thinking manifest, which is thinking into manifestation, he thought all things manifest. Now thinking manifest deals with things made alone, for thinking manifest is nothing else than making. He then, alone who is not made, it is clear, is both beyond all power of thinking manifest and is unmanifest. And as he thought all things manifest, he manifests through all things and in all, and most of all in whatsoever things he wills to manifest. Do you then, Tat my son, pray first unto our Lord and Father, the one and only one, from whom the one does come, to show his mercy unto you, in order that you may have the power to catch a thought of this so mighty God, one single beam of him to shine into your thinking. For thought alone sees the unmanifest, in that it is itself unmanifest. If then you have the power, he will, Tat, manifest to your mind's eyes. The Lord begrudged not himself to anything, but manifests himself through the whole world. You have the power of taking thought, of seeing it and grasping it in your own hands, and gazing face to face upon God's image. But if what is within you even is unmanifest to you, how then shall he himself who is within yourself be manifest for you by means of outer eyes? But if you would see him, bethink you of the sun, bethink you of moon's course, bethink you of the order of the stars. Who is the one who watched over that order? For every order has its boundaries marked out by place and number. The sun's the greatest god of gods in heaven, to whom all of the heavenly gods give place as unto king and master. And he, this so great one, he greater than the earth and sea, endures to have above him circling smaller stars than him. Out of respect to whom, or out of fear of whom, my son, does he do this? Nor like nor equal is the course each of these stars describes in heaven. Who then is he who marked out the manner of their course and its extent? The bear up there that turned round itself, and carries round the whole cosmos with it. Who is the owner of this instrument? Who he who has set round the sea its bounds? Who he who has set on its seat the earth? For Tat, there is someone who is the maker and the Lord of all these things. It can not be that number, place, and measure could be kept without someone to make them. No order whatsoever could be made by that which lacked place and lacked measure. No, even this is not without a Lord, my son. For if the orderless lacks something, in that it is not Lord of order's path, it also is beneath a Lord, the one who has not yet ordained it order. Would that it were possible for you to get you wings and soar into the air, and, poised midway between earth and heaven, behold the earth's solidity, the sea's fluidity of the flowings of its streams, the spaciousness of air, fire's swiftness, and the coursing of the stars, the swiftness of heaven's circuit round them all. Most blessed sight were it, my son, to see all these beneath one sway, the motionless in motion, and the unmanifest made manifest, whereby is made this order of the cosmos and the cosmos which we see of order. If you would see him too through things that suffer death, both on the earth and in the deep, think of a man's being fashioned in the womb, my son, and strictly scrutinize the art of him who fashions him, and learn who fashioned this fair and godly image of the man. Who then is he who traced out the circles of the eyes? Who he who bore out the nostrils and the ears? Who he who opened the portal of the mouth? Who he who does stretch out and tie the nerves? Who he who channels out the veins? Who he who hardened the bones? Who he who covered the flesh with skin? Who he who separates the fingers and the joints? Who he who widens out a treading for the feet? Who he who dug out the ducts? Who he who spread out the spleen? Who he who shaped heart like to a pyramid? Who he who set ribs together? Who he who widened the liver out? Who he who made lungs like to a sponge? Who he who made belly stretch so much? Who he who does make prominent the parts most honorable, so that they may be seen, while hiding out of sight those of least honor? Behold how many arts employed on one material, how many labors on one single sketch, and all exceeding fair, and all in perfect measure, yet all diversified. Who made them all? What mother or what sire, save God alone, unmanifest, who has made all things by his will? And no one says a statue or a picture comes to be without a sculptor or without a painter. Does then such workmanship as this exist without a worker? What depth of blindness, what deep impiety, what depth of ignorance! See then you never, son Tat, deprive works of worker. No, rather is he greater than all names, so great is he, the Father of them all. For verily he is the only one, and this is his work to be a father. So if you force me somewhat too bold to speak, his being is conceiving of all things and making them. And as without its maker, it is impossible that anything should be, so ever is he not, unless he ever makes all things, in heaven, in air, in earth, in deep, in all of cosmos, in every part that is and that is not of everything. For there is nothing in all the world that is not he. He is himself, both things that are and things that are not. The things that are he has made manifest, he kept things that are not in himself. He is the God beyond all name, he the unmanifest, he the most manifest, he whom the mind alone can contemplate, he visible to the eyes as well. He is the one of no body, the one of many bodies, no rather he of every body. Nothing is there which he is not. For all are he, and he is all. And for this cause has he all names, in that they are one fathers. And for this cause has he himself no nome, in that he's father of them all. Who then may sing you praise of you, or praise to you? To what place, again, am I to turn my eyes to sing your praise, above, below, within, without? There is no way, no place is there about you, nor any other thing of things that are. All are in you, all are from you, O you who give all and take nothing, for you have all and nothing is there you have not. And when, O Father, shall I hymn you? For none can seize your hour or time. For what again shall I sing hymn? For things that you have made, or things you have not? For things you have made manifest, or things you have concealed? How, further, shall I hymn you? As being of myself, as having something of mine own, as being other. For that you are whatever I may be, you are whatever I may do, you are whatever I may speak. For you are all, and there is nothing else which you are not. You are all that which exists, and you are what does not exist. Mind when you think, and Father when you make, and God when you energize, and good and maker of all things. For that the subtler part of matter is the air, of air the soul, of soul the mind, and of mind God. Chapter 6. In God alone is good, and elsewhere nowhere. Good, O Asclepius, is in none else save in God alone. No, rather, good is God himself eternally. If it be so, good must be essence, from every kind of motion and becoming free, though nothing is free from it, possessed of stable energy around itself, never too little, nor too much, an ever full supply. Though one, yet is it source of all, for what supplied all is good. When I, moreover, say supplied altogether all, it is forever good. But this belongs to no one else save God alone. For he stands not in need of anything, so that desiring it he should be bad. Nor can a single thing of things that are be lost to him, on losing which he should be pained, for pain is part of bad. Nor is there anything at all superior to him, that he should be subdued by it, nor any peer to him to do him wrong, or so that he should fall in love on its account, nor anything at all that gives no ear to him, whereat he should grow angry, nor wiser anything at all, for him to envy. Now as all these are non-existent in his being, what is there left but good alone? For just as nothing of bad is to be found in such transcendent being, so too in no one of the rest will good be found. For in them are all of the other things which is, those things which are not good, both in the little and the great, both in each severally, and in this living one that's greater than them all, and the mightiest of them, which is the cosmos. For things subject to birth abound in passions, birth in itself being passible. But where there's passion, nowhere is there good, and where is good, nowhere a single passion. For where is day, nowhere is night, and where is night, day is nowhere. Wherefore in Genesis the good can never be, but only be in the ingenerate. But seeing that the sharing in all things has been bestowed on matter, so does it share in good. In this way is the cosmos good, that, in so far as it does make all things, as far as making goes it's good, but in all other things it is not good. For it's both passible and subject unto motion, and maker of things passible. Whereas in man by greater or less of bad is good determined. For what is not too bad down here is good, and good down here is the least part of bad. It cannot, therefore, be that good down here should be quite clean of bad, for down here good is fouled with bad, and being fouled it stays no longer good, and staying not it changes into bad. In God alone is, therefore, good, or rather good is God himself. So then, Asclepius, the name alone of good is found in men, the thing itself nowhere in them, for this can never be. For no material body does contain it, a thing bound on all sides by bad, by labors, pains, desires, and passions, by error and by foolish thoughts. And greatest ill of all, Asclepius, is that each of these things that have been said above is thought down here to be the greatest good. And what is still an even greater ill is belly lust, the error that does lead the band of all the other ills, the thing that makes us turn down here from good. And I, for my part, give thanks to God that he has cast it in my mind about the gnosis of the good, that it can never be, it should be in the world. For that the world is fullness of the bad, but God of good, and good of God. The excellencies of the beautiful are round the very essence of the good. No, they do seem too pure, too unalloyed. Perchance it is they that are themselves its essences. For one may dare to say, Asclepius, if essence, soothe, he have, God's essence is the beautiful. The beautiful is further also good. There is no good that can be got from objects in the world. For all the things that fall beneath the eye are image things and pictures as it were, while those that do not meet the eye are the realities, especially the essence of the beautiful and good. Just as the eye cannot see God, so can it not behold the beautiful and good. For that they are integral parts of God, wedded to him alone, inseparate familiars most beloved, with whom God is himself in love, or they with God. If you can God conceive, you shall conceive the beautiful and good, transcending light, made lighter than the light by God. That beauty is beyond compare. Inimitate that good, even as God is himself. As then you conceive of God, conceive the beautiful and good. for they cannot be joined with anything at all of other things that live, since they can never be divorced from God. Seek you for God, you seek for the beautiful. One is the path that led unto it, devotion joined with gnosis. And thus it is that they who do not know and do not tread devotion's path do dare to call man beautiful and good, though he have never even in his vision seen a wit that's good, but is enveloped with every kind of bad, and thinks the bad is good, and thus does make unceasing use of it, and even feared that it should be taken from him, so straining every nerve not only to preserve but even to increase it. Such are the things that men call good and beautiful, Asclepius, things which we cannot flee or hate, for hardest thing of all is that we've need of them and cannot live without them. Chapter 7. The greatest ill among men is ignorance of God. Where do you stumble, sots, who have sopped up the wine of ignorance, and can so far not carry it that you already even spew it forth? Stay you, be sober, gaze upwards with the true eyes of the heart, and if you cannot all, yet you at least who can? For that the ill of ignorance does pour over all the earth, and overwhelm the soul that's battened down within the body, preventing it from fetching port within salvation's harbors. Be you then not carried off by the fierce flood, but using the shore current, which is back current or up current, you who can, make for salvation's port, and, harboring there, seek you for one to take you by the hand and lead you unto Gnosis gates, where shines clear light, of every darkness clean, where not a single soul is drunk, but sober all they gaze with their heart's eyes on him who would to be seen. No ear can hear him, nor can eye see him, nor tongue speak of him, but only mind and heart. But first you must tear off from you the cloak which you wear, the web of ignorance, the ground of bad, corruption's chain, the carapace of darkness, the living death, sensation's corpse, the tomb you carry with you, the robber in your house, who through the things he loved, hated you, and through the things he hated, bears you malice. Such is the hateful cloak you wear, that throttles you and holds you down to it, in order that you may not gaze above, and having seen the beauty of the truth, and good that dwells therein, detest the bad of it, having found out the plot that it has schemed against you, by making void of sense those seeming things which men think senses, for that it has with mass of matter blocked them up and crammed them full of loathsome lust, so that you may not hear about the things that you should hear, nor see the things you should see. Chapter 8. That no one of existing things perishes, but men in error speak of their changes as destructions and as deaths. Hermes, concerning soul and body, son, we now must speak, in what way soul is deathless, and whence comes the activity in composing and dissolving body. For there's no death for anything at all of things that are. The thought this word conveys is either void of fact, or simply by the knocking off a syllable what is called death, does stand for deathless. For death is of destruction, and nothing in the cosmos is destroyed. For if cosmos is second God, a life or living creature that cannot die, it cannot be that any part of this immortal life should die. All things in cosmos are parts of cosmos, and most of all is man, the rational animal. For truly, first of all, eternal and transcending birth is God the universe maker. Second is he, after his image, cosmos brought into being by him, sustained and fed by him, made deathless, as by his own sire, living for aye, as ever free from death. Now that which ever lived differs from the eternal, for he has not been brought to being by another, and even if he have been brought to being, he has not been brought to being by himself, but ever is brought into being. For the eternal, in that it is eternal, is the all. The Father is himself eternal of himself, but cosmos has become eternal and immortal by the Father. And of the matter stored beneath it, which is, beneath the cosmos, the Father made of it a universal body, and packing it together made it spherical, wrapping it round the life, a sphere which is immortal in itself, and that does make materiality eternal. But he, the Father, fulfilled with his ideas, did sow the lives or living creatures into the sphere, and shut them in as in a cave, willing to order forth the life with every kind of living. So he with deathlessness enclosed the universal body, that matter might not wish to separate itself from body's composition, and so dissolve into its own original unorder. For matter, sun, when it was yet incorporate which is, not yet formed into bodies, was in unorder. And it does still retain down here this nature of unorder enveloping the rest of the small lives or living creatures, that increase and decrease which men call death. It is round earthly lives that this unorder does exist. For that, the bodies of the heavenly ones preserve one order allotted to them by the Father as their rule, and it is by the restoration of each one of them this order is preserved indissolute. The restoration of bodies on the earth is thus their composition, whereas their dissolution restores them to those bodies which can never be dissolved, that is to say, which know no death. Privation, thus, of sense is brought about, not loss of bodies. Now the third life, man, after the image of the cosmos made, and having mind after the Father's will beyond all earthly lives, not only does have feeling with the second God that is, the cosmos, but also has conception of the first, for of the one it is sensible as of a body, while of the other it conceives as bodiless and the good mind. Tat, does then this life not perish? Hermes, hush, son, and understand what God, what cosmos is, what is a life that cannot die, and what a life subject to dissolution. Yea, understand the cosmos is by God and in God, but man by cosmos and in cosmos. The source and limit and the constitution of all things is God. Chapter 9. On Thought and Sense. I gave the perfect divine sermon or logos yesterday, Asclepius. Today I think it right, as sequel thereunto, to go through point by point the sermon about sense. Now sense and thought do seem to differ, in that the former has to do with matter, the latter has to do with substance. But unto me both seem to be at one and not to differ. In men, I mean. In other lives, which is living creatures' sense is at one with nature, but in men thought. Now mind does differ just as much from thought as God does from divinity, for that divinity by God does come to be, and by mind thought, the sister of the divine word or logos and instruments of one another. For neither does the divine word or logos find utterance without thought, nor is thought manifested without word. So sense and thought both flow together into man, as though they were entwined with one another. For neither without sensing can one think, nor without thinking sense. But it is possible, they say, to think a thing apart from sense, as those who fancy sights in dreams. But unto me it seems that both of these activities occur in dream sight, and sense does pass out of the sleeping to the waking state. For man is separated into soul and body, and only when the two sides of his sense agree together does utterance of its thought conceived by mind take place. For it is mind that does conceive all thoughts, good thoughts when it receives the seeds from God, their contraries when it received them from the daimonials. No part of cosmos being free of daimon, who stealthily does creep into the daemon who's illumined by God's light, that is, the human soul, and sow in him the seed of its own energy. And mind conceives the seed thus sown, adultery, murder, parricide, and sacrilege, impiety and strangling, casting down precipices, and all such other deeds as are the work of evil daemons. The seeds of God, it is true, are few, but vast and fair and good, virtue and self-control, devotion. Devotion is God-gnosis, and he who knew God, being filled with all good things, thinks godly thoughts, and not thoughts like the many think. For this cause they who Gnostic are, please not the many, nor the many them. They are thought mad and laughed at, they're hated and despised, and sometimes even put to death. For we did say that bad must needs dwell on earth, where it is in its own place. Its place is earth, and not cosmos, as some will sometimes say with impious tongue. But he who is a devotee of God will bear with all, once he has sensed the gnosis. For such an one all things, even though they be for others bad, are for him good. Deliberately he does refer them all unto the gnosis. And, thing most marvelous, it is he alone who made bad things good. But I return once more to the divine discourse or logos on sense. That sense does share with thought in man, does constitute him man. But it is not every man, as I have said, who benefits by thought, for this man is material, that other one substantial. For the material man, as I have said, consorting with the bad, does have his seed of thought from daemons, while the substantial men consorting with the good are saved by God. Now God is maker of all things, and in his making he made all at last like to himself. But they, while they're becoming good by exercise of their activity, are unproductive things. It is the working of the cosmic course that made their becomings what they are, befouling some of them with bad, and others of them making clean with good. For Cosmos, too, Asclepius, possessed sense and thought peculiar to itself, not like that of man. It is not so manifold, but as it were a better and a simpler one. The single sense and thought of Cosmos is to make all things, and make them back into itself again, as organ of the will of God, so organized that it, receiving all the seeds into itself from God, and keeping them within itself, may make all manifest, and then dissolving them, make them all new again. And thus, like a good gardener of life, things that have been dissolved, it took to itself, and gave them renewal once again. There is no thing to which it gives not life, but taking all unto itself it makes them live, and is at the same time the place of life and its creator. Now bodies matter made are in diversity. Some are of earth, of water, some are of air, and some of fire. But they are all composed. Some are more composite, and some are simpler. The heavier ones are more composed, the lighter less so. It is the speed of Cosmos's course that works the manifoldness of the kinds of births. For being a most swift breath, it does bestow their qualities on bodies together with the one pleroma, that of life. God, then, is sire of Cosmos, Cosmos of all in Cosmos, and Cosmos is God's son, but things in Cosmos are by Cosmos. And properly has it been called Cosmos order, for that it orders all with their diversity of birth, with its not leaving anything at all without its life, with the unweariedness of its activity, the speed of its necessity, the composition of its elements, and order of its creatures. The same, then, of necessity and propriety should have the name of order. The sense and thought, then, of all lives does come into them from without, inbreathed by what contains them all, whereas Cosmos receives them once for all together with its coming into being, and keeps them as a gift from God. But God is not, as some suppose, beyond the reach of sense and thought. It is through superstition men thus impiously speak. For all the things that are, Asclepius, all are in God, are brought by God to be, and do depend on him, both things that act through bodies, and things that through soul substance make other things to move, and things that make things live by means of spirit, and things that take unto themselves the things that are worn out. And rightly so. No, I would rather say, he does not have these things. But I speak forth the truth, he is them all himself. He does not get them from without, but gives them out from him. This is God's sense and thought, ever to move all things. And never time shall be when even a whit of things that are shall cease. And when I say a whit of things that are, I mean a whit of God. For things that are God has, nor anything at all is there without him, nor is he without anything at all. These things should seem to you, Asclepius, if you understand them true, but if you not understand, things not to be believed. To understand is to believe, to not believe is not to understand. My word or logos does go before you to the truth. But mighty is the mind, and when it has been led by word up to a certain point, it has the power to come before you to the truth. And having thought over all these things and found them consonant with those which have already been translated by the reason, it has even now believed, and found its rest in that fair faith. To those, then, who by God's good aid do understand the things that have been said by us above. They're credible, but unto those who understand them not, incredible. Let so much, then, suffice on thought and sense. Chapter 10. The Key. Hermes, my yesterday's discourse or logos I did devote to you Asclepius, and so it is only right I should devote to Tuaphes to Tat, and this the more because it is the abridgment of the general divine sermons or logoi which he has had addressed to him. God, Father, and the Good, then, Tat, has the same nature, or more exactly, energy. For nature is a predicate of growth, and used of things that change, both mobile and immobile, that is to say, both human and divine, each one of which he would into being. But energy consists in something else, as we have shown in treating of the rest, both things divine and human things, which thing we ought to have in mind when treating of the good. God's energy is then his will. Further, his essence is to will the being of all things. For what is God and Father and the Good but the to-be of all that are not yet? No, subsistent self of everything that is. This, then, is God, this Father, this the Good. To him is added nothing of all the rest. And though the cosmos, that is to say the sun, is also sire himself to them that share in him, yet so far is he not the cause of good unto the lives, he is not even of their living. So that even if he be a sire, he is entirely so by compulsion of the Good's good will, apart from which nor being nor becoming could ever be. Again, the parent is the children's cause, both on the father's and the mother's side, only by sharing in the Good's desire that does pour through the Son. It is the Good which did the creating, and such a power can be possessed by no one else than him alone who took nothing, but wills all things to be. I will not, Tat, say makes, for that the maker is defective for long periods in which he sometimes makes, and sometimes does not make, both in the quality and in the quantity of what he makes, in that he sometimes made them so many and such like, and sometimes the reverse. But God and Father and the Good is cause for all to be. So are at least these things for those who can see. For it does will to be, and it is both itself and most of all by reason of itself. Indeed, all other things beside are just because of it, for the distinctive feature of the Good is that it should be known. Such is the Good, O Tat. Tat, you have, O Father, filled us so full of this so good and fairest sight, that thereby my mind's eye has now become for me almost a thing to worship. For that the vision of the Good does not, like the sun's beam, fire-like blaze on the eyes and make them close. No, on the contrary, it shone forth and made to increase the seeing of the eye, as far as ever a man has the capacity to hold the inflow of the radiance that the mind alone can see. Not only does it come more swiftly down to us, but it does us no harm, and is instinct with all immortal life. They who are able to drink in a somewhat more than others of this sight, ofttimes from out the body fall asleep in this fairest spectacle, as was the case with Uranus and Cronus, our forebears. May this be outlot too, O Father mine. Hermes, yes, may it be, my son. But as it is, we are not yet strung to the vision, and not as yet have we the power our mind's eye to unfold and gaze upon the beauty of the Good, beauty that nothing can ever corrupt or any comprehend. For only then will you upon it gaze when you can say no word concerning it. For gnosis of the Good is holy silence and a giving holiday to every sense. For neither can he who perceived it perceive anything at all else, nor he who gazed on it gaze on anything at all else, nor hear anything at all else, nor stir his body any way. Staying his body's every sense and every motion, he stayed still. And shining then all round his mund, it shines through his whole soul, and draws it out of body, transforming all of him to essence. For it is possible, my son, that a man's soul should be made like to God, even while it still is in a body, if it does contemplate the beauty of the Good. Made like to God? What do you mean, Father? Of every soul apart are transformations, son. What do you mean? Apart? Did you not in the general sermons hear that from one soul, the all-soul, come all these souls which are made to revolve in all the cosmos, as though divided off? Of these souls, then, it is that there are many changes, some to a happier lot, and some to just the contrary of this. Thus some that were creeping things change into things that in the water dwell. The souls of water things change to earth dwellers. Those that live on earth change to things with wings, and souls that live in air change to men, while human souls reach the first step of deathlessness, changed into daimons. And so they circle to the choir of the inerrant gods, for of the gods there are two choirs, the one inerrant and the other errant, and this is the most perfect glory of the soul. But if a soul on entering the body of a man persisted in its vice, it neither tasted deathlessness nor shared in the good, but speeding back again it turns into the path that leads to creeping things. This is the sentence of the vicious soul, and the soul's vice is ignorance. For that, the soul who has no knowledge of the things that are, or knowledge of their nature or of good, is blinded by the body's passions and tossed about. This wretched soul, not knowing what she is, becomes the slave of bodies of strange form and sorry plight, bearing the body as a load, not as the ruler, but the ruled. This ignorance is the soul's vice. But on the other hand, the virtue of the soul is gnosis. For he who knows, he good and pious is, and still while on the earth divine. But who is such an one, O Father mine, Hermes? He who does not say much or lend his ear to much. For he who spent time in arguing and hearing arguments does shadow fight. For God, the Father and the good, is not to be obtained by speech or hearing. And yet, though this is so, there are in all the being's senses, in that they cannot without senses be. But gnosis is far different from sense. For sense is brought about by that which has the mastery over us, while gnosis is the end which is goal of science, and science is God's gift. All science is incorporeal, the instrument it uses being the mind, just as the mind employs the body. Both then come into bodies, I mean both things that are cognizable by mind alone and things material. For all things must consist out of antithesis and contrariety, and this can otherwise not be. Tat, who then is this material God of whom you speak? Hermes, cosmos is beautiful, but is not good, for that it is material and freely passable, and though it is the first of all things passable, yet is it in the second rank of being and wanting in itself. And though it never has itself its birth in time, but ever is, yet is its being and becoming for all time the genesis of qualities and quantities, for it is mobile in all material motions genesis. It is intelligible rest that moves material motion in this way, since cosmos is a sphere, that is to say, a head. And nothing of head above's material, as nothing of feet below's intelligible, but all material. And head itself is moved in a sphere-like way, that is to say, as head should move is mind. All then that are united to the tissue of this head in which is soul are in their nature free from death, just as when body has been made in soul, are things that has more soul than body. Whereas those things which are at greater distance from this tissue, where are things which have a greater share of body than of soul, are by their nature subject unto death. The whole, however, is a life, so that the universe consists of both the hylic and of the intelligible. Again, the cosmos is the first of living things, while man is second after it, though first of things subject to death. Man has the same ensoling power in him as all the rest of living things, yet is he not only not good, but even evil, for that he's subject unto death. For though the cosmos also is not good in that it suffers motion, it is not evil in that it is not subject to death. But man, in that he's subject both to motion and to death, is evil. Now then the principles of man are this wise vehicled: mind in the divine reason or logos, the reason in the soul, soul in the spirit, or rather, vital spirits, and spirit in the body. Spirit pervading body by means of veins and arteries and blood, bestows upon the living creature motion, and as it were does bear it in a way. For this cause some do think the soul is blood, in that they do mistake its nature, not knowing that at death it is the spirit that must first withdraw into the soul, whereon the blood congeals and veins and arteries are emptied, and then the living creature or life is withdrawn. And this is body's death. Now from one source all things depend, while source depended from the one and only one. Source is, moreover, moved to become source again, whereas the one stood perpetually and is not moved. Three then are they, God the Father and the good, cosmos and man. God does contain cosmos. Cosmos contained man. Cosmos is ever God's son, man as it were cosmos's child. Not that, however, God ignored man. No, right well does he know him, and would to be known. This is the sole salvation for a man, God's gnosis. This is the way up to the mount. By him alone the soul became good, not whiles is good, whiles evil, but good out of necessity. Tat, what do you mean, thrice greatest one? Hermes, behold an infant soul, my son, that is not yet cut off, because its body is still small and not as yet come unto its full bulk. How? A thing of beauty altogether is such a soul to see, not yet befouled by body's passions, still all but hanging from the cosmic soul. But when the body grows in bulk and drew down the soul into its mass, then does the soul cut off itself and bring upon itself forgetfulness, and no more shared in the beautiful and the good. And this forgetfulness became vice. It is the same for them who go out from the body. For when the soul withdraws into itself, the spirit does contract itself within the blood and the soul within the spirit. And then the mind, stripped of its wrappings and naturally divine, taking unto itself a fiery body, does traverse every space after abandoning the soul unto its judgment and whatever chastisement it has deserved. Tat, what do you, Father, mean by this? The mind is parted from soul and soul from spirit, whereas you said the soul was the mind's vesture, and the soul's the spirit. Hermes, the hearer's son should think with him who speaks and breathe with him. No, he should have a hearing subtler than the voice of him who speaks. It is, son, in a body made of earth that this arrangement of the vestures comes to pass. For in a body made of earth, it is impossible the mind should take its seat itself by its own self in nakedness. For neither is it possible on the one hand the earthly body should contain so much immortality, nor on the other that so great a virtue should endure a body passible in such close contact with it. It took, then, the soul for as it were an envelope, and soul itself, being two and thing divine, does use the spirit as its envelope, while spirit does pervade the living creature. When then the mind does free itself from the earth body, it straightway put on its proper robe of fire, with which it could not dwell in an earth body. For earth does not bear fire, for it is all set in a blaze even by a small spark. And for this cause is water poured around earth, to be a guard and wall, to keep the blazing of the fire away. But mind, the swiftest thing of all divine outthinkings, and swifter than all elements, has for its body fire. For mind being builder, does use the fire as tool for the construction of all things, the mind of all for the construction of all things, but that of man only for things on earth. Stripped of its fire, the mind on earth cannot make things divine, for it is human in its dispensation. The soul in man, however, not every soul, but one that pious is a daimonic something and divine. And such a soul, when from the body freed, if it have fought the fight of piety, the fight of piety is to know God and to do wrong to no man, such a soul becomes entirely mind. Whereas the impious soul remains in its own essence, chastised by its own self, and seeking for an earthly body where to enter, if only it be human. For that no other body can contain a human soul, nor is it right that any human soul should fall into the body of a thing that does possess no reason. For that the law of God is this, to guard the human soul from such tremendous outrage. How, Father, then, is a man's soul chastised? Hermes, what greater chastisement of any human soul can there be, son, than lack of piety? What fire has so fierce a flame as lack of piety? What ravenous beast so mauls the body as lack of piety the very soul? Do you not see what hosts of ills the impious soul does bear? It shrieks and screams, I burn, I am ablaze, I know not what to cry or do. Ah, wretched me, I am devoured by all the ills that compass me about. Alack, poor me, I neither see nor hear. Such are the cries wrung from a soul chastised, not as the many think, and you, sons, suppose, that a man's soul passing from body is changed into a beast. Such is a very grave mistake, for that the way a soul does suffer chastisement is this. When mind becomes a daimon, the law requires that it should take a fiery body to execute the services of God, and entering in the soul most impious, it scourged it with whips made of its sins. And then the impious soul, scourged with its sins, is plunged in murders, outrage, blasphemy, in violence of all kinds, and all the other things whereby mankind is wronged. But on the pious soul, the mind does mount and guide it to the gnosis light. And such a soul does never tire in songs of praise to God and pouring blessing on all men, and doing good in word and deed to all, in imitation of its sire. Wherefore, my son, you should give praise to God and pray that you mayst have your mind good mind. It is, then, to a better state the soul does pass, it cannot to a worse. Further, there is an intercourse of souls. Those of the gods have intercourse with those of men, and those of men with souls of creatures which possess no reason. The higher, further, have in charge the lower. The gods look after men, men after animals irrational, while God has charge of all, for he is higher than them all, and all are less than he. Cosmos is subject, then, to God, man to the cosmos, and irrationals to man. But God is over them all, and God contains them all. God's rays, to use a figure, are his energies. The cosmoses are nature's, the arts and sciences are man's. The energies act through the cosmos, thence through the nature rays of cosmos upon man. The nature rays act through the elements. Man acted through the sciences and arts. This is the dispensation of the universe, depending from the nature of the One, pervading all things through the mind, than which is nothing diviner nor of greater energy, and nothing a greater means for the at-owning men to gods and gods to men. He, mind, is the good daemon. Blessed the soul that is most filled with him, and wretched is the soul that's empty of the mind. Father, what do you mean again? Think then, son, that every soul has the good mind, for it is of him we speak, not of the mind in service of which we were just speaking, the mind sent down for the soul's chastisement. For soul without the mind can neither speak nor act, for oftentimes the mind does leave the soul, and at that time the soul neither sees nor understands, but is just like a thing that has no reason. Such is the power of mind. Yet does it not endure a sluggish soul, but left such a soul tied to the body and bound tight down by it. Such soul, my son, does not have mind, and therefore such an one should not be called a man. For that man is a thing of life or animal divine. Man is not measured with the rest of lives of things upon the earth, but with the lives above in heaven, who are called gods. No more, if we must boldly speak the truth, the true man is even higher than the gods, or at the very least the gods and men are very wit in power, each with the other equal. For no one of the gods in heaven shall come down to the earth, overstepping heaven's limit, whereas man does mount up to heaven and measure it. He knows what things of it are high, what things are low, and learns precisely all things else besides. And greater thing than all, without even quitting earth, he does ascend above. So vast a sweep does he possess of ecstasy. For this cause can a man dare say that man on earth is God subject to death, while God in heaven is man from death immune. Wherefore the dispensation of all things is brought about by means of the twain, cosmos and man, but by the one. Chapter 11. Mind unto Hermes. Mind, master this sermon or logos then, thrice greatest Hermes, and bear in mind the spoken words, and as it has come unto me to speak, I will no more delay. Hermes, as many men say many things, and these diverse, about the all and good, I have not learned the truth. Make it, then, clear to me, O master mine, for I can trust the explanation of these things which comes from you alone. Mind, hear then, my son, how stood God in all, God, aeon, cosmos, time, becoming. God made aeon, aeon cosmos, cosmos time, and time becoming or genesis. The good, the beautiful wisdom blessedness is the essence, as it were, of God. Of aeon the essence is sameness, of cosmos order, of time change, and of becoming life and death. The energies of God are mind and soul, of aeon lastingness and deathlessness, of cosmos restoration and the opposite thereof, of time increase and decrease, and of becoming quality. Aeon is then in God, cosmos in aeon, in cosmos, time, in time, becoming. Aeon stands firm round God, cosmos is moved in aeon, time has its limits or is accomplished in the cosmos, becoming does become in time. The source, therefore, of all is God, their essence, aeon, their matter, cosmos. God's power is aeon. Aeon's work is cosmos, which never has become, yet ever does become by aeon. Therefore will cosmos never be destroyed, for aeon's indestructible, nor does a whit of things in cosmos perish, for cosmos is enwrapped by aeon round on every side. Hermes, but God's wisdom, what is that? Mind, the good and beautiful, and blessedness and virtues all, and aeon. Aeon, then, ordered cosmos, imparting deathlessness and lastingness to matter. For its beginning does depend on aeon, as aeon does on God. Now genesis or becoming and time in heaven and upon the earth are of two natures. In heaven they are unchangeable and indestructible, but on the earth they're subject unto change and to destruction. Further, the aeon's soul is God, the cosmos soul is aeon, the earth's soul heaven, and God is in mind, and mind in soul, and soul in matter, and all of them through aeon. But all this body, in which are all the bodies, is full of soul, and soul is full of mind, and mind of God. It which is, soul fills it which is, the body of the cosmos from within, and from without encircles it, making the all to live. Without, this vast and perfect life encircles cosmos. Within, it fills it with all lives. Above, in heaven, continuing in sameness. Below, on earth, changing, becoming. And aeon does preserve this cosmos, or by necessity, or by foreknowledge, or by nature, or by whatever else a man supposes or shall suppose. And all is this, God energizing. The energy of God is power that nothing can ever surpass, a power with which no one can make comparison of any human thing at all, or anything divine. Wherefore, O Hermes, never think that anything at all of things above or things below is like to God, for you will fall from truth. For nothing is like to that which has no like and is alone and one. And do not ever think that any other can possibly possess his power, for what apart from him is there of life, and deathlessness, and change of quality? For what else should he make? God's not inactive, since all things then would lack activity, for all are full of God. But neither in the cosmos anywhere, nor in anything at all else, is there inaction. For that inaction is a name that cannot be applied to either what does make or what is made. But all things must be made, both ever made, and also in accordance with the influence of every space. For he who makes is in them all, not stablished in some one of them, nor making one thing only, but making all. For being power, he energized in the things he makes and is not independent of them, although the things he makes are subject to him. Now gaze through me upon the cosmos that's now subject to your sight. Regard its beauty carefully, body in pure perfection, though one than which there's no more ancient one, ever in prime of life and ever young, no rather in even fuller and yet fuller prime. Behold, again, the 7 subject worlds, ordered by aeon's order, and with their varied course fulfilling aeon. See how all things are full of light, and nowhere is there fire. For it is the love and the blending of the contraries and the dissimilars that does give birth to light down shining by the energy of God, the Father of all good, the leader of all order, and ruler of the 7 world orderings. Behold the moon, forerunner of them all, the instrument of nature, and the transmuter of its lower matter. Look at the earth set in the midst of all, foundation of the cosmos beautiful, feeder and nurse of things on earth. And contemplate the multitude of deathless lives, how great it is, and that of lives subject to death. And midway between both, immortal lives and mortal, the circling moon. And all are full of soul, and all are moved by it, each in its proper way, some round the heaven, others around the earth. See how the right move not unto the left, nor yet the left unto the right, nor the above below, nor the below above. And that all there are subject unto Genesis, my dearest Hermes, you have no longer need to learn of me. For that they bodies are, have souls, and they are moved. But it is impossible for them to come together into one without someone to bring them all together. It must then be that such a one as this must be someone who's wholly one. For as the many motions of them all are different, and as their bodies are not like, yet has one speed been ordered for them all, it is impossible that there should be two or more makers for them. For that one single order is not kept among the many, but rivalry will follow of the weaker with the stronger, and they will strive. And if the maker of the lives that suffer change and death should be another from the maker of the immortals, he would desire to make the deathless ones as well, just as the maker of the deathless ones, to make the lives that suffer death. But come, if there be two, if matter's one, and soul is one, in whose hands would there be the distribution for the making? Again, if both of them have some of it, in whose hands may be the greater part? But thus conceive it then, that every living body does consist of soul and matter, whether that body be of an immortal, or a mortal, or an irrational life. For that all living bodies are ensouled, whereas upon the other hand, those that live not are matter by itself. And in like fashion, soul when in itself is, after its own maker, cause of life. But the cause of all life is he who makes the things that cannot die. Hermes, how then is it that first, lives subject to death are other than the deathless ones? And next, how is it that life which knows no death and made deathlessness does not make animals immortal? Mind, first, that there is someone who does these things is clear, and next, that he is also one is very manifest. For also, soul is one, and life is one, and matter one. Hermes, but who is he? Mind, who may it other be than the one God? Whom else should it beseem to put soul into lives but God alone? One then is God. It would indeed be most ridiculous if when you confess the cosmos to be one, sun one, moon one, and Godhead one, you should wish God himself to be some one or other of a number. All things, therefore, he makes in many ways. And what great thing is it for God to make life, soul, and deathlessness and change, when you yourself do so many things? For you to see and speak and hear and smell and taste and touch and walk and think and breathe. And it is not one man who smells, another one who walks, another one who thinks, and yet another one who breathes. But one is he who does all these, and yet no one of these could be apart from God. For just as should you cease from these, you would no longer be a living thing, so also should God cease from them, a thing not law to say, no longer is he God. For if it has been shown that no thing can inactive be, how much less God? For if there's anything at all he does not make, if it be law to say, he is imperfect. But if he is not only not inactive, but perfect God, then he does make all things. Give you yourself to me, my Hermes, for a little while, and you shall understand more easily how that God's work is one, in order that all things may be, that are being made, or once have been, or that are going to be made. And this is, my beloved, life. This is the beautiful, this is the good, this, God. And if you would in practice understand this work, behold what took place with you desiring to beget. Yet this is not like unto that, for he does not enjoy. For that indeed he has no other one to share in what he works. For working by himself, he ever is at work, himself being what he does. For did he separate himself from it, all things would then collapse, and all must die, life ceasing. But if all things are lives and also life is one, then one is God. And furthermore, if all are lives, both those in heaven and those on earth, and one life in them all is made to be by God, and God is it which is, God is the one life, then all are made by God. Life is the making one of mind and soul. Accordingly, death is not the destruction of those that are at one, but the dissolving of their union. Aeon, moreover, is God's image. Cosmos is aeons, the sun of cosmos, and man, the image of the sun. The people call change death, because the body is dissolved, and life, when it's dissolved, withdraws to the unmanifest. But in this sermon or logos, Hermes, my beloved, as you hear, I say the cosmos also suffers change. For that a part of it each day is made to be in the unmanifest, yet it is never dissolved. These are the passions of the cosmos, revolvings and concealments. Revolving is conversion and concealment renovation. The cosmos is all formed, not having forms external to itself, but changing them itself within itself. Since then, cosmos is made to be all formed, what may its maker be? For that, on the one hand, he should not be void of all form, and on the other hand, if he's all formed, he will be like the cosmos. Whereas again, has he a single form, he will thereby be less than cosmos. What then say we he is, that we may not bring round our sermon or logos into doubt? For nothing that mind conceives of God is doubtful. He then has one idea, which is his own alone, which does not fall beneath the sight, being bodiless, and yet by means of bodies manifested all ideas. And marvel not that there's a bodiless idea, for it is like the form of reason or logos and mountain tops in pictures. For they appear to stand out strongly from the rest, but really are quite smooth and flat. And now consider what is said more boldly, but more truly. Just as man cannot live apart from life, so neither can God live without his doing good. For this is as it were the life and motion, as it were of God, to move all things and make them live. Now some of the things said should bear a sense peculiar to themselves. So understand, for instance, what I'm going to say. All are in God, but not as lying in a place. For place is both a body and immovable, and things that lie do not have motion. Now things lie one way in the bodiless, another way in being made manifest. Think then of him who does contain them all, and think that than the bodiless nothing is more comprehensive, or swifter, or more potent, but it is the most comprehensive, the swiftest and most potent of them all. And thus think from yourself, and bid your soul go unto any land, and there more quickly than your bidding will it be. And bid it journey oceanwards, and there again immediately it will be, not as if passing on from place to place, but as if being there. And bid it also mount to heaven, and it will need no wings, not will anything at all hinder it, nor fire of sun, nor author, nor vortex swirl, nor bodies of the other stars, but cutting through them all, it will soar up to the last body of them all. And should you will to break through this as well, and contemplate what is beyond, if there be anything at all beyond the cosmos, it is permitted you. Behold what power, what swiftness you have. And can you do all of these things, and God not do them? Then, in this way know God, as having all things in himself as thoughts, the whole cosmos itself. If, then, you do not make yourself like unto God, you cannot know him, for like is knowable unto like alone. Make then yourself to grow to the same stature as the greatness which transcends all measure. Leap forth from every body, transcend all time, become eternity, which means aeon, and thus shall you know God. Conceiving nothing is impossible unto yourself. Think yourself deathless and able to know all arts, all sciences, the way of every life. Become more lofty than all height, and lower than all depth. Collect into yourself all senses of all creatures, of fire and water, dry and moist. Think that you are at the same time in every place, in earth, in sea, in sky, not yet begotten, in the womb, young, old, and dead, in after-death conditions. And if you know all these things at once, times, places, doings, qualities, and quantities, you can know God. But if you lock your soul up within your body and debase it, saying, I nothing know, I nothing can, I fear the sea, I cannot scale the sky, I know not who I was, who I shall be, what is there then between your God and you? For you can know nothing of things beautiful and good so long as you love your body and are bad. The greatest bad there is not to know God's good, but to be able to know good and will and hope is a straight way, the good's own path, both leading there and easy. If you but set your foot thereon, it will meet you everywhere, it will everywhere be seen, both where and when you expect it not, waking, sleeping, sailing, journeying, by night, by day, speaking and saying nothing, for there is nothing that is not image of the good. Hermes. Is God unseen? Mind, hush! Who is more manifest than he? For this one reason has he made all things, that through them all you may see him. This is the good of God, this is his virtue, that he may be manifest through all. For nothing's unseen, even of things that are without a body. Mind sees itself in thinking, God in making. So far these things have been made manifest to you, thrice greatest one. Reflect on all the rest in the same way with yourself, and you shall not be led astray. Chapter 12. About the common mind. Hermes. The mind, O Tat, is of God's very essence, if such a thing as essence of God there be, and what that is, it and it only knows precisely. The mind, then, is not separated off from God's essentiality, but is united to it, as light to sun. This mind in men is God, and for this cause some of mankind are gods, and their humanity is nigh unto divinity. For the good Daimon said, Gods are immortal men, and men are mortal gods. But in irrational lives, mind is their nature. For where is soul, there too is mind, just as where life, there is there also soul. But in irrational lives, their soul is life devoid of mind, for mind is the inworker of the souls of men for good. He works on them for their own good. In lives irrational, he does cooperate with each one's nature, but in the souls of men, he counteracted them. For every soul, when it becomes embodied, is instantly depraved by pleasure and by pain. For in a compound body, just like juices, pain and pleasure seethe, and into them the soul, on entering in, is plunged. Over whatsoever souls the mind does then preside, to these it showed its own light, by acting counter to their prepossessions, just as a good physician does upon the body prepossessed by sickness, pain inflict, burning or lancing it for sake of health. In just the self-same way the mind inflicted pain on the soul to rescue it from pleasure, whence comes its every ill. The great ill of the soul is godlessness. Then followed fancy for all evil things and nothing good. So then, mind counteracting it does work good on the soul, as the physician health upon the body. But whatsoever human souls have not the mind as pilot, they share in the same fate as souls of lives irrational. For mind becomes co-worker with them, giving full play to the desires toward which such souls are born, desires that from the rush of lust strain after the irrational, so that such human souls, just like irrational animals, cease not irrationally to rage and lust, nor are they ever satiate of ills. For passions and irrational desires are ills exceeding great, and over these God has set up the mind to play the part of judge and executioner. Tat. In that case, Father mine, the teaching or logos as to fate, which previously you explained to me, risks to be overset. For that if it be absolutely fated for a man to fornicate, or commit sacrilege, or do some other evil deed, why is he punished, when he has done the deed from fate's necessity? Hermes. All works, my son, are fates, and without fate nothing of things corporal, or which is either good or ill, can come to pass. But it is fated too that he who did ill shall suffer, and for this cause he does it, that he may suffer what he suffered, because he did it. But for the moment, Tat, let be the teaching as to vice and fate, for we have spoken of these things in other of our sermons. But now our teaching, or logos, is about the mind, what mind can do, and how it is so different, in men being such and such, and in irrational lives so changed, and then again that in irrational lives it is not of a beneficial nature, while that in men it quenched out the wrathful and the lustful elements. Of men, again, we must class some as led by reason, and others as unreasoning. But all men are subject to fate, and genesis and change, for these are the beginning and the end of fate. And though all men do suffer fated things, those led by reason, those whom we said mind does guide, do not endure a like suffering with the rest. But since they freed themselves from viciousness, not being bad, they do not suffer bad. Tat, what do you mean again, my father? Is not the fornicator bad, the murderer bad, and so with all the rest? Hermes, I meant not that, but that the mind-led man, my son, though not a fornicator, will suffer just as though he had committed fornication, and though he be no murderer, as though he had committed murder. The quality of change he can no more escape than that of genesis, but it is possible for one who has the mind to free himself from vice. Wherefore I've ever heard my son, good Damon, also say, and had he set it down in written words, he would have greatly helped the race of men, for he alone, my son, does truly as the firstborn God, gazing on all things, give voice to divine words or logos. Yes, once I heard him say, all things are one, and most of all the bodies which the mind alone perceives. Our life is owing to God's energy and power and aeon. His mind is good, so is his soul as well. And this being so, intelligible things know nothing of separation. So then, mind, being ruler of all things, and being soul of God, can do whatever it wills. So do you understand, and carry back this word or logos unto the question you asked before, I mean about mind's fate? For if you do with accuracy, son, eliminate all captious arguments or logoi, you will discover that of very truth the mind, the soul of God, does rule over all, over fate and law and all things else, and nothing is impossible to it, neither over fate to set a human soul, nor under fate to set a soul neglectful of what comes to pass. Let this so far suffice from the good Daemon's most good words. Tat, yes, words divinely spoken, father mine, truly and helpfully. But further still explain me this. You said that mind in lives irrational worked in them as their nature, co-working with their impulses. But impulses of lives irrational, as I do think, are passions. Now if the mind co-worked with these impulses, and if the impulses of lives irrational be passions, then is mind also passion, taking its color from the passions? Hermes, well put, my son. You question right nobly, and it is just that I as well should answer nobly. All things incorporeal when in a body are subject unto passion, and in the proper sense they are themselves all passions. For everything that moves itself is incorporeal, while everything that's moved is body. Incorporeals are further moved by mind, and movement is passion. Both then are subject unto passion, both mover and the moved, the former being ruler and the latter ruled. But when a man has freed himself from body, then is he also freed from passion. But more precisely, son, nothing is impassible, but all are passable. Yet passion differed from passibility, for that the one is active, while the other's passive. Incorporeals, moreover, act upon themselves, for either they are motionless or they are moved, but whichsoever it be, it's passion. But bodies are invariably acted on, and therefore they are passible. Do not, then, let terms trouble you. Action and passion are both the self-same thing. To use the fairer-sounding term, however, does no harm. Tat, most clearly have you, father mine, set forth the teaching or logos. Consider this as well, my son, that these two things God has bestowed on man beyond all mortal lives, both mind and speech or logos equal to immortality. He has the mind for knowing God, and uttered speech or logos for eulogy of him. And if one used these for what he ought, he'll differ not a whit from the immortals. No, rather, on departing from the body, he will be guided by the twain unto the choir of gods and blessed ones. Tat, why, father mine, do not the other lives make use of speech or logos? Hermes, no, son, but which is only use of voice. Speech is far different from voice. For speech is general among all men, while voice does differ in each class of living thing. Tat. But with men also, father mine, according to each race, speech differs. Hermes, yes, son, but man is one, so also speech is one and is interpreted, and it is found the same in Egypt and in Persia and in Greece. You seem, son, to be in ignorance of reasons or logos' worth and greatness. For that the blessed God good Daimon has declared, soul is in body, mind in soul, but reason or logos is in mind, and mind in God, and God is father of all these. The reason, then, is the mind's image, and mind God's image, while body is the image of the form, and form the image of the soul. The subtlest part of matter is, then, air or vital spirit, of air soul, mind, and of mind God. And God surrounded all and permeated all, while mind surrounded soul, air matter. Necessity and providence and nature are instruments of cosmos and of matter's ordering, while of intelligible things each is essence, and sameness is their essence. But of the bodies of the cosmos each is many, for through possessing sameness, these composed bodies, though they do change from one into another of themselves, do natheless keep the incorruption of their sameness. Whereas in all the rest of composed bodies, of each there is a certain number, for without number structure cannot be, or composition, or decomposition. Now it is units that give birth to number and increase it, and, being decomposed, are taken back again into themselves. Matter is one, and this whole cosmos, the mighty God and image of the mightier One, both with him unified and the conserver of the will and order of the Father, is filled full of life. Nothing is there in it throughout the whole of Aeon, the Father's everlasting re-establishment, nor of the whole, nor of the parts, which does not live. For not a single thing that's dead has been, or is, or shall be in this cosmos. For that the Father willed it should have life as long as it should be. Wherefore it needs must be a God. How then, O Son, could there be in the God, the image of the Father, in the plenitude of life, dead things? For that death is corruption, and corruption destruction. How then could any part of that which knew no corruption be corrupted, or any whit of him, the God, destroyed? Tat, do they not, then, my Father, die, the lives in it that are its parts? Hermes, hush, son, led into error by the term in use for what takes place. They do not die, my son, but are dissolved as compound bodies. Now dissolution is not death, but dissolution of a compound. It is dissolved not so that it may be destroyed, but that it may become renewed. For what is the activity of life? Is it not motion? What then in cosmos is there that has no motion? Nothing is there, son. Tat, does not earth even, Father, seem to you to have no motion? Hermes, no, son, but rather that she is the only thing which, though in very rapid motion, is also stable. For how would it not be a thing to laugh at, that the nurse of all should have no motion, when she engenders and brings forth all things? For it is impossible that without motion one who does engender should do so. That you should ask if the fourth part or element is not inert is most ridiculous. For the body which does have no motion gives sign of nothing but inertia. Know, therefore, generally, my son, that all that is in cosmos is being moved for increase or for decrease. Now that which is kept moving also lives, but there is no necessity that that which lives should be all same. For being simultaneous, the cosmos as a whole is not subject to change, my son, but all its parts are subject unto it, yet nothing of it is subject to corruption or destroyed. It is the terms employed that confuse men. For it is not genesis that constituted life, but it is sensation. It is not change that constituted death, but it is forgetfulness. Since then these things are so, they are immortal all, matter and life and spirit, mind and soul, of which whatever lived is composed. Whatever then does live owed its immortality unto the mind, and most of all does man, he who is both recipient of God and co-essential with him. For with this life alone does God consort, by visions in the night, by tokens in the day, and by all things does he foretell the future unto him, by birds, by inward parts, by wind, by tree. Wherefore does man lay claim to know things past, things present, and to come? Observe this too, my son, that each one of the other lives inhabited one portion of the cosmos, aquatic creatures water, terrene earth, and airy creatures air. While man does use all these, earth, water, air, and fire, he saw heaven too, and does contact it with his sense. But God surrounded all, and permeated all, for he is energy and power, and it is nothing difficult, my son, to conceive God. But if you would him also contemplate, behold the ordering of the cosmos, and see the orderly behavior of its ordering. This is a play on the word cosmos, which means order, arrangement. Behold you the necessity of things made manifest, and see the providence of things become and things becoming. Behold how matter is all full of life. Behold this so great God in movement, with all the good and noble ones, gods, daimons, and men. But these are purely energies, O Father mine. If then they're purely energies, my son, by whom then are they energized except by God? Or are you ignorant that just as heaven, earth, water, air are parts of cosmos, in just the self-same way God's parts are life and immortality, and energy and spirit and necessity and providence and nature, soul and mind, and the duration that is, aeon or eternity of all these that is called good. And there are nothing of things that have become or are becoming in which God is not. Tat, is he in matter, Father, then? Hermes matter, my son, is separate from God, in order that you may attribute to it the quality of space. But what thing else than mass you think it is, if it's not energized? Whereas if it be energized, by whom is it made so? For energies, we said, are parts of God. By whom are, then, all lives enlivened? By whom are things immortal made immortal? By whom changed things made changeable? And whether you speak of matter, of body, or of essence, know that these too are energies of God, and that materiality is matter's energy, that corporeality is body's energy, and that essentiality does constituted the energy of essence, and this is God, the All. And in the All is nothing that is not God. Wherefore nor that is, neither size, nor space, nor quality, nor form, nor time surrounded God. For he is all, and all surrounded all, and permeated all. Unto this reason or logos, son, your adoration and your worship pay. There is one way alone to worship God. It is not to be bad. Chapter 13. The Secret Sermon on the Mountain. Tat, now in the general sermons, Father, you spoke in riddles most unclear, conversing on divinity, and when you said no man could ever be saved before rebirth, your meaning you hid. Further, when I became your suppliant, in wending up the mount, after you have conversed with me, and when I longed to learn the sermon or logos on rebirth, for this beyond all other things is just the thing I know not, you said that you would give it me, when you shall have become a stranger to the world. Wherefore I got me ready, and made the thought in me a stranger to the world illusion. And now do you fill up the things that fall short in me, with what you said would give me the tradition of rebirth, setting it forth in speech or in the secret way. I know not, O thrice greatest one, from out what matter and what womb man comes to birth, or of what seed. Hermes. Wisdom that understands in silence, such is the matter and the womb from out which man is born, and the true good the seed. Tat, who is the sower, Father? For I am altogether at a loss. It is the will of God, my son. And of what kind is he that is begotten, Father? For I have no share of that essence in me which does transcend the senses. The one that is begot will be another one from God, God's Son, all in all, out of all powers composed. You tell me a riddle, Father, and do not speak as father unto son. This race, my son, is never taught, but when he would it, its memory is restored by God. You say things impossible, O Father, things that are forced. Hence answers would I have direct unto these things. Am I a son strange to my father's race? Keep it not, Father, back from me. I am a true-born son. Explain to me the manner of rebirth. Hermes, what may I say, my son? I can but tell you this. Whenever I see within myself the simple vision brought to birth out of God's mercy, I have passed through myself into a body that can never die, and now I am not as I was before, but I am born in mind. The way to do this is not taught, and it cannot be seen by the compounded element by means of which you see. Yes, I have had my former composed form dismembered for me. I am no longer touched, but I have touch, I have dimension too, and yet am I a stranger to them now. You see me with eyes, my son, but what I am you do not understand even with fullest strain of body and of sight. Tat, into fierce frenzy and mind fury have you plunged me, father, for now no longer do I see myself. I would, my son, that you have even passed right through yourself, as they who dream in sleep yet sleepless. Tell me this too, who is the author of rebirth, the Son of God, the one man, by God's will? Now have you brought me, father, unto pure stupefaction, arrested from the senses which I had before. This part of the Hermetic Corpus is lost. The next available part starts with, for now I see your greatness identical with your distinctive form. Hermes, even in this you are untrue. The mortal form does change with every day. It is turned by time to growth and waning, as being an untrue thing. Tat, what then is true, thrice greatest one? That which is never troubled, son, which cannot be defined, that which no color has, nor any figure which is not turned, which has no garment which gave light, that which is comprehensible unto itself alone, which does not suffer change, that which no body can contain. In very truth I lose my reason, father. Just when I thought to be made wise by you, I find the senses of this mind of mine blocked up. Thus is it, son. That which is upward born like fire, yet is borne down like earth, that which is moist like water, yet blows like air. How shall you this perceive with sense? That which is not solid nor yet moist, which nothing can bind or loose, of which in power and energy alone can man have any notion, and even then it wants a man who can perceive the way of birth in God? I am incapable of this, O father, then. Hermes, no, God forbid, my son. Withdraw into yourself, and it will come. Will, and it comes to pass. Throw out of work the body's senses, and your divinity shall come to birth. Purge from yourself the brutish torments, things of matter. I have tormentors then in me, O father? No few, my son. No, fearful ones and manifold. Tat, I do not know them, father. Hermes, torment the first is this not knowing, son. The second one is grief. The third, intemperance. The fourth, concupiscence. The fifth, unrighteousness. The sixth is avarice. The seventh, error. The eighth is envy. The ninth, guile. The 10th is anger. 11th, rashness. The 12th is malice. These are in number 12, but under them are many more, my son, and creeping through the prison of the body, they force the man that's placed therein to suffer in his senses. But they depart, though not all at once, from him who has been taken pity on by God. And this it is which constitutes the manner of rebirth. And this part of the Hermetic Corpus is lost. The next available part starts with the divine reason or logos. And now, my son, be still and solemn silence keep. Thus shall the mercy that flows on us from God not cease. Henceforth rejoice, O son, for by the powers of God you are being purified for the articulation of the divine reason or logos. Gnosis of God has come to us, and when this comes, my son, not knowing is cast out. Gnosis of joy has come to us, and on its coming, son, sorrow will flee away to them who give it room. The power that follows joy do I invoke, your self-control. O power most sweet, let us most gladly bid it welcome, son. How with its coming does it chase intemperance away. Now forth on continence I call the power against desire. This part of the Hermetic Corpus is lost. The next available part starts with, this step, my son, is righteousness' firm seat. For without judgment or without effort, see how she has chased unrighteousness away. We are made righteous, son, by the departure of unrighteousness. Power sixth I call to us, that against avarice, sharing with all. And now that avarice is gone, I call on truth, and error flees, and truth is with us. See how the measure of the good is full, my son, upon truth's coming. For envy is gone from us, and unto truth is joined the good as well, with life and light. And now no more does any torment of the darkness venture nigh, but vanquished all have fled with whirring wings. You know now, my son, the manner of rebirth. And when the 10 is come, my son, that driven out the 12, the birth in understanding, which means intellectual birth, Noerogenesis is complete, and by this birth we are made into gods. Who then does by his mercy gain this birth in God, abandoning the body's senses, knows himself to be of light and life, and that he does consist of these, and thus is filled with bliss. Tat. By God made steadfast, Father, no longer with the sight my eyes afford I look on things, but with the energy the mind does give me through the powers. In heaven am I, in earth, in water, air, I am in animals, in plants, I'm in the womb, before the womb, after the womb, I'm everywhere. But further tell me this, how are the torments of the darkness, when they are 12 in number, driven out by the 10 powers? What is the way of it, thrice greatest one? Hermes, this dwelling place through which we have just passed, that is, the human body, my son, is constituted from the circle of the 12 types of life, this being composed of elements 12 in number, but of one nature, an omniform idea. For man's delusion there are disunions in them, son, while in their action they are one. Not only can we never part rashness from wrath, they cannot even be distinguished. According to right reason or logos, then, the 12 naturally withdraw once and for all, inasmuch as they are chased out by no less than 10 powers, that is, the 10. For son, the 10 is that which gave birth to souls, and life and light are unified there, where the one has being from the spirit. According then to reason or logos, the one contains the 10 the one. Father, I see the all, I see myself in mind. Hermes, this is my son, rebirth, no more to look on things from body's viewpoint, a thing 3 ways in space extended. This part of the Hermetic Corpus is lost. The next available part starts with, though this divine sermon or logos on rebirth, on which I did not comment, in order that we may not be calumniators of the all unto the multitude, to whom indeed God himself does, will we should not. Tell me, O Father, this body which is made up of the powers, is it at any time dissolved? Hermes, hush, son, speak not of things impossible, else will you sin and your mind's eye be quenched. The natural body which our sense perceives is far removed from this essential birth. The first must be dissolved, the last can never be. The first must die, the last death cannot touch. Do you not know you have been born a god, son of the one, even as I myself? Tat. I would, O Father, hear the praise-giving with him which you said you heard then when you were at the 8, the Ogdoad of powers Hermes. Just as the shepherd did foretell I should, my son, when I came to the 8. Well, you haste to strike your tent, which is, be free from the physical body, for you have been made pure. The shepherd, mind of all masterhood, has not passed on to me more than has been written down, for full well did he know that I should of myself be able to learn all, and hear what I should wish, and see all things. He left to me the making of fair things, wherefore the powers within me, even as they are in all, break into song. Tat, Father, I wish to hear, I long to know these things. Hermes, be still, my son, hear the praise-giving now that keeps the soul in tune. Hymn of rebirth, a hymn I would not have thought fit so readily to tell, hadst you not reached the end of all. Wherefore this is not taught, but is kept hid in silence. Thus then, my son, stand in a place uncovered to the sky, facing the southern wind, about the sinking of the setting sun, and make your worship, so in like manner too when he does rise, with face to the east wind. Now, son, be still, the secret hymnody. Let every nature of the world receive the utterance of my hymn. Open, you earth, let every bolt of the abyss be drawn for me. Stir not, you trees. I am about to hymn creation's Lord, both all and one. The heavens open and the winds stay still, and let God's deathless sphere receive my word or logos. For I will sing the praise of him who founded all, who fixed the earth and hung up heaven, and gave command that ocean should afford sweet water to the earth, to both those parts that are inhabited and those that are not, for the support and use of every man, who made the fire to shine for gods and men for every act. Let us together all give praise to him, sublime above the heavens of every nature Lord. It is he who is the eye of mind. May he accept the praise of these my powers. You power that are within me, hymn the one and all. Sing with my will, powers all that are within me. O blessed Gnosis, by you illumined, hymning through you the light that alone can see, I joy and joy of mind. Sing with me praises all you power. Sing praise my self-control. Sing you through me my righteousness, the praises of the righteous. You sing my sharing all, the praises of the all. Through me sing truth, truth's praises. You sing, O good, the good. O life and light, from us to you our praises flow. Father, I give you thanks, to you energy of all my powers. I give you thanks, O God, you power of all my energies. Your divine reason or logos sings through me your praises. Take back through me the all into your reason, my reasonable oblation. Thus cry the powers in me. They sing your praise, you all, they do your will. From you your will, to you the all. Receive from all their reasonable oblation. The all that is in us, O life, preserve. O light, illumine it. O God, inspirit it. It your mind that plays the shepherd to your word. O you Creator, bestower of the Spirit upon all. For you are God, your man thus cries to you through fire, through air, through earth, through water, and through spirit, through your creatures. It is from your aeon I have found praise-giving, and in your will, the object of my search, have I found rest. By your good pleasure have I seen this praise-giving being sung, O Father. I have said it in my cosmos too. Say in the cosmos that your mind alone can see, my son. Yes, Father, in the cosmos that the mind alone can see. For I have been made able by your hymn, and by your praise-giving my mind has been illumined. But further I myself as well would from my natural mind send praise-giving to God. Hermes, but not unheedfully, my son. I, what I behold in mind, that do I say. To you, you parent of my bringing into birth, as unto God I send reasonable offerings. O God and Father, you are the Lord, you are the mind. Receive from me oblations reasonable as you would wish, for by your will all things have been perfected. Send you oblations, Son, acceptable to God, the Sire of all, but add, my Son, too, through the Word or Logos. I give you, Father, thanks for showing me to sing such hymns. Happy am I, my Son, that thou have brought the good fruits forth of truth, products that cannot die. And now that you have learnt this lesson from me, make promise to keep silence on your virtue, and to no soul, my son, make known the handing on to you the manner of rebirth, that we may not be thought to be calumniators. And now we both of us have given heed sufficiently, both I the speaker and the hearer you. In mind have you become a knower of yourself and our common sire. Our audiobook ends here. Thank you for listening. If you want any particular book in this channel, please let us know in the comments.